Hello and welcome. Hope you all are doing good, and I welcome you all for the demo session of full stack development. We shall try to keep this thing short and precise and shall try to build an understanding on what is full stack development. We shall try to draw a very simple diagram for understanding this technique, but before that I like to start with an example. We will try to take a very simple example of Facebook. Now, Facebook is something that we probably use every single day, and all of us know about it quite nicely. Let us say you want to go to facebook.com. So either you take your laptop or desktop and write down facebook.com on the browser, or let's say you take your mobile phone and you go to the Facebook app. But irrespective of from which platform you are trying to go to Facebook, you must provide your username and password for login. So let's assume your username is Johnson. As soon as you give your credentials, that is your username and password, and click on the login button, the home page appears. And immediately your posts, your photographs, the pictures, all those things start appearing. We already know all these things, but this much amount of knowledge is not enough to become a full stack developer. If you wish to become a full stack developer, you need to start understanding how internally these programs are working, and which ultimately is making the login possible for Mr. Johnson. So when Johnson writes his username and his correct password and he presses the login button, all his posts and his news feed and all those things starts appearing. This is what you see as an end user, but in the background there are a lot of work that is going on. So let us try to take an effort to understand that what is the scenario that is going on in the background. When you go to your phone or your laptop or your desktop and you write down www.facebook.com, you are essentially making a request from your browser to the backend server. The request travels from your browser to your server. Now, I'm pretty sure you have heard about the word server earlier. Sometimes when you try to go to a website and you find out the website is not working, or let's say something is not working out, you typically say that the server is down, isn't it? So whenever you're writing www.facebook.com or let's say instagram.com, you're ultimately trying to reach to the servers of Facebook or Instagram. Alright? So now on these backend servers, we have got some kind of an application running. An application means a software. So there is a software which is installed on that particular server and it is running 24/7. So when on Facebook screen you write down your username and your password, this information is actually sent to the application that is running on the server. So now your Facebook application has a responsibility to validate the username and the password. But alone, however, it cannot do that. It requires to take help of another entity known as the database. So Facebook must have a database going on. Within the database, it has all the entries of the users that are valid users for Facebook. As soon as you provide your username and password, the application is going to ask the database whether you are a valid user as per its records. If it is, your login is successful. In case it is not, you have a tough luck. So this database is also ultimately a software. This helps us in storing data. Whenever you try to post something on Facebook or you upload a photograph, a picture or maybe a video, all these things ultimately get stored into this database. It travels from your screen to the application and ultimately reaches the database. And that is the reason that no matter from which device you are trying to log in into your Facebook account, you can see all your data every single time. You can go to your profile, you can find out all your posts every single time. That is because you are validated against the database, and when you are a valid user, all the data that is stored against your name are pulled from the database and presented to you. So this part over here is known as the back end, and this part which is opening up on your browser is known as the front end. So any application, any website that you use, there are always two segments. One is front end that is visible to you on the browser, and then the back end. And within the back end also you can see there are two segments. One is backend application and one is database. So let me write it down over here. We have a website in the front end that you can open up on your browser, let's say Google Chrome, Firefox, or maybe your Android phone browser or something. That's the website part. And then you have the backend application. That's one component you have over here. And the other one is your database. Alright? So when you operate on Facebook, you do not directly talk to the application. People always talk to the website. You talk to the website. From the website, whatever action you are doing, that generates a request, and that request travels to the backend application. If required, the application shall validate the request with the database, and ultimately when it is processed, the output is sent in form of a response and forwarded to your browser, which is then visible on the screen of your Chrome or Firefox or Android phone. So you can see a request once again is sent by the front end to the back end, and the response on the other hand is sent by the back end back to the front end, right? So full stack developer is a person or an engineer who can write down the applications for the front end, that is the website part, the web development part, who can write the backend application, and as well as work with the databases. So full stack developer works with all these things together, everything together. Let me write it down for you. So full stack is front end development plus the backend development and the database. So that's all you have within your full stack development thing. So now let's try to understand which are languages you need to know for becoming a full stack developer. So we shall break it down into three parts: the front end languages, the back end application languages, and the databases. For the front end language part, you have an option to go for HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and then further do a specialization on Angular or React. You necessarily do not need to learn both of Angular and React. If you want to do that, that's great, that's brilliant. But if you can stick to any one of them, it is going to work perfectly fine. For the backend application language, you can go with Java, or you can go for Python, or maybe Microsoft.NET. And for the database part, you have got four options with yourself. It's good to go with mysql. You can also go for Oracle database, or maybe Postgre database, or you can also go for Microsoft SQL Server. So if a person knows HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Java, MySQL, he is a full stack developer. If a person knows Angular, .NET, and Microsoft SQL Server, he still remains a full stack developer. So basically any combination works. You can choose the combination that you want to go for. Now majorly the combinations that really work out well in this industry, I'm going to note them down over here, is HTML, CSS, JavaScript plus Angular for the front end, Java for the back end, and MySQL for the database. This is combination number one. In combination number two, you can take Microsoft .NET and Microsoft SQL Server as a database. This is the second combination. The third combination that really works out in the industry is HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Angular, Python. You can do the similar thing with React also. You can just do all these things by replacing Angular with React. These combinations are really good as per the current market scenario. However, you can choose your own combination if you want to. Also, I shall talk about a particular question that I receive a lot. That is, if you do not have any prior experience in programming, can you become a full stack developer? The straight answer to this question is yes, you can. But definitely you require to understand this, that you need to put some efforts for understanding the computer languages. What are the computer languages? This Java, the Python, the Angular, React, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, all these things we talked about are known as the computer languages. So you must put an effort for learning these computer languages. These languages are not difficult to learn, they are pretty easy. But they're easy only if your approach is right. You need to start thinking in a logical step-by-step manner for solving the problematic scenarios. Programming is all about solving real-life scenarios in a logical step-by-step way. So the more you can think in that way, the better a programmer you will become. So I guess this demo session was helpful to you and you learned something today. We shall meet in the further sessions and we shall be learning the things one by one after this. We shall stop right over here for this session. Take care. Bye bye. Have a very good day.